In this video, I'll show you the 3 biggest reasons why salespeople are too scared to make cold calls. So there I am, about to pick up the phone to make my first of many cold calls for the day. After powering down a couple cups of coffee and scrolling through my lead list for a few minutes, I finally found the prospect that's worthy of my call. I double check the lead notes, check out their company website, look them up on LinkedIn, and even stalk them a bit on social media, just to be sure they're a good fit for what I'm selling. Sure, 10 minutes have gone by, but I'm ready to finally make that first phone call. I pick up the phone, dial the digits, and anxiously listen to the ringer, wondering if the prospect is gonna pick up or not. It rings, it rings, it rings, and all of a sudden the call connects.
We're sorry, but the number you dialed is no longer in service.
This is a super common story. Many salespeople will waste time and do a bunch of unnecessary research on their prospect, even though they know they should just pick up the call. So the question is, why are salespeople too scared to pick up the phone and make the call? Reason number 1, you fear rejection. Let's face it, rejection sucks. On a fundamental level, we as humans have a need for developing positive relationships. This need is deeply rooted in our evolutionary history. Now, being in sales and having to make cold calls, you're constantly getting bombarded with no's. I'm not interested, stop calling. And this sort of rejection can lead to feelings of anxiety, anger, sadness, and even depression. In other words, experiencing rejection leads to mental pain. And if you're a normal human being, then you're not gonna enjoy experiences whatsoever. So it only makes sense that we wanna minimize the chances of this happening. But here's the thing, if you want to succeed in sales, then you have to increase your exposure to rejection. Meaning, you're gonna need to pick up the phone, dial the digits, even if you just got hung up on or punched in the face with a rejection that you couldn't handle. There are 3 things you can do when fearful of making a call. You can push through the fear and take action, you can delay action, or you can take no action at all. Now ask yourself, which of the actions will move you closer to booking more meetings? Exactly. You must take action, otherwise you're just delaying success or not even giving yourself the opportunity to achieve success. Here's a super simple mind hack you can use to help overcome your fear of cold calling. All I ask in return is you hit the like and subscribe. So when you're about to make that call and that internal mental chatter starts firing off in your head, ask yourself this super simple question. What's the worst that can happen? If you need to, repeat that phrase several times before making the call. Who cares if the prospect's pissed off at you, tells you no, or straight up hangs up on you? The reality is, if your product or service solves a real problem, then it's your responsibility to make that call. Sales is a numbers game. You gotta embrace failing and ideally embrace failing quickly. So try to catch yourself the next time those feelings of fear pop up before making a call, because those sorts of thoughts can be a compelling force to do nothing or do a lot of something that amounts to nothing. Reason number 2, you're uncertain of the outcome. Being in sales, you've probably experienced this. When you get so lost in the process of finding, analyzing, and trying to make sense of all the data that you delay the process of making that cold call, or even worse, you don't make it at all. Before making a call, you'll say things to yourself like, the prospect isn't gonna answer my call, or even if they do answer, I'm probably not gonna get the meeting anyways. Or maybe even, what am I actually gonna say if they do answer my call? If this sort of dialogue is playing out in your head, then you're making things way harder than they need to be. All you're doing is playing mental games and wasting way too much time overthinking it. The reality is, the only way you'll actually achieve certainty is by picking up the phone and making the call. Reason number 3, you're too much of a perfectionist. This is something I see happening way too often. In fact, when I first started working with some of my clients, they were paralyzed by this idea of perfection. They thought they needed to know every detail about their prospect and their company before making the call. They thought they needed to have the perfect cold calling script. Some of them even thought they needed to know exactly what to say every step of the way. Here's the thing. Perfectionism doesn't happen in sales. There will always be something that you could have said to a prospect during a cold call that was better. There will always be better ways you could have handled an objection. There's no magical sequence of words to bestow on your prospect to guarantee success. The reality is, sales is an imperfect process. Once I coach my clients on embracing incremental improvements rather than striving for perfectionism, their activity levels increase, they start having better conversations on the phone, and in effect, start to schedule more meetings and close more deals. The bottom line is there's nothing wrong with thinking through options before making a decision. But if you consistently find yourself stalled and indecision, you need to take a look at why this is happening. So how do we get over these 3 mental barriers and start making the damn cold call? Here are 3 quick tips. 1, prepare for your call by doing some basic research on your prospect. You're gonna definitely wanna know your prospect's first name. but you may also want to know other things like organizational size, their team size, whatever it is that's relevant to what you're selling. Just beware of over-preparing. That's when analysis paralysis kicks in. 2, create a cold calling script. Your script serves as your roadmap that will get you from point A to point B, meaning you'll have a framework to help you guide through the call from opening to closing. A script provides structure and clarity, and when you have structure and clarity, you'll start to chip away feelings of uncertainty. 3, script out talk tracks for overcoming objections. Just like you did this for your cold calling script, you're also going to write out talk tracks for the common objections you hear. You're going to get hit with the same 5 to 7 objections all the time, so you need to have an idea of what you're going to say in order to handle and overcome it. When you know how to do this, you'll remove uncertainty and begin to welcome objections from your prospects. I hope this video helped illuminate what's going on subconsciously when you're fearful when making cold calls, and provided you with some tactics for overcoming this paralyzing state in the future. If you consistently find yourself stalled out due to indecision, and you're sick and tired of feeling busy all the time but still not achieving results, then click the link below to schedule a free one-on-one call with me. We'll get clarity on the challenges that are holding you back, and if it makes sense, we can talk about working together to elevate your sales game to a whole new level. All right, so click on that link below to schedule that one-on-one call. Look forward to connecting with you soon. Peace!